Alright, today we're doing cut and shuts. So this is a giant rupture, 2.2, 5.9 tall. And what we're doing is we're gonna make it this size. So I cut out an inch out of it this way, and I also cut it this way, narrow the tire, so we cut a ½ inch out of the tire all the way around to make it smaller like this. So yeah, these are giant, and I've got inserts in them as well, but anyway, I modified this insert to fit the new size that I made it. So anyway, I'm making this tire for this MOA. I believe that these will do better than the goats that I've been running. Probably because of my location. I don't think that the goats are the good tire for this area. Ruptures are always awesome, as far as I've seen. So anyway, here's how we're gonna do this. So I gotta get this insert out of here. Okay, I've gotta cut out I'm gonna make it narrow first, and then after I make it narrow and glue it, then I'll cut it across this way twice and combine it. So first I get in the center, so I pinch it like this and I try to follow that seam that's right in the middle and just cut me a starting point. Now I can get my scissors in here, and on the rupture it has these little sipe lines. There's 2 sipe lines that are perfectly where I want to cut it. I've done 3 of these so far, so I already know well what I need to do. So I just need to get into these sipe lines and cut around, and I want this cut to be nice and straight. So follow the sipe lines really good. Nice and straight. I might have just zigzagged the hair. I'll find out when I'm done. Okay, this one is ready, except for what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look around it and see if my cut looks nice and straight. If I see any little whoopties, then I'll try to smooth them out a little bit with the scissors. Okay, that one looks good. Alright, so then same thing here. I'm gonna follow that same sipe line, because that is taking a ½ inch out of the tire when I do that on this specific tire. Normally I would go just a little bit slower just to make it try to be a little bit more smooth, but I'm trying to fit this into a short video is my intention. So, and I've done 3 of them, so I do know that I can pull it off pretty awesome. The first one took me like 5 times longer. So once you get the hang of it, and there's tricks too, you know, and just being confident, comfortable doing it. So, okay, here we go. Almost there. Okay. Give that a whirl. Look at it and see if I got any. I got one sort of whoop right here. Cut that out of it. Looks a lot better. And if you have a really good pair of normal scissors, it's a good way to use, good way to do these. Also, a good pair of snips like this will cut the tire pretty well, but it's a little bit more like you could get blisters if you did it a whole bunch. The scissors are a little bit easier. Okay, so now I have 2 halves. Alright, so I normally do this with my headlamp on because it's a little bit dark in my room. I didn't want to do that because of the video, but I do recommend this. Helps a lot. You can see a lot better. Okay, on this one I'm doing it to where it kind of lines up like a mud bogger. So tread line up, tread line up, tread line up. So that's how I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of set it how I want it. Okay, now I got a good starting set. What I'm gonna do is just glue about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. When you do this, you want to be kind of careful not to let it run outside of the tire. And this is much more racing tire glue. This, I highly recommend this. This is my favorite. If you do order it from A-Main, it doesn't look like this when you order it, but it comes looking like this. So it's kind of strange. I mean, you can message me if you're wanting to know how to get that specific one. But any of the much more ones, I would say, would probably be a good bet. Don't get the ProTech ones, I think is what it was, that I tried and I hated them. Okay. And if you get a spot where you're like, ooh, I don't like that, you can sort of like pop it and align it better. Okay, that looks pretty good. So since this spot's the freshest glue, I'm gonna jump over to this other side of my first glue, and I'm gonna do this side, and then I'm gonna go back this way and go that side. And that kind of gives the glue a little bit longer to set up, because you do want to give it like a minute, even if it's instant glue. It's sort of not really that instant. So I do about 2 inches at a time. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna jump this way. That one definitely set wrong, so all I gotta do is sort of tell it no. And now it kind of works good to kind of peel this, just sort of flip it up, and then bring this glue across. You just have to lightly squeeze the glue. It sort of just pulls out on its own. If you just barely feather, you just barely squeeze it, it'll just do its thing. If the glue's a little bit thick, then it can be a little bit temperamental. That spot's a little heavy on the glue, I guess. Okay, back the other way. Flip this up. Don't leave any glue gaps. Make sure it's a solid line of glue.
It's illegal.
You're illegal.
It's even more illegal.
Looks good. Jumping back. I'm making a video. Flip it up. Skibbity.
Toilets.
Okay, I sort of need to redo that part. That looks better. Okay. Last stretch. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now I've got a narrowed tire. It really only takes a couple seconds for that glue to start holding it, and then you're good. I mean, it's not like completely dried, but it, you know, in a few seconds, it literally, the tire is set. So the second part of this is cutting an inch out of the tire. And the way that I do that is I like to keep the lettering good. So it says J Concepts Ruptures. So at least on one side, I want to do that, you know. So I'm gonna pick which one I want to be the outside face, and what you're gonna do is, so I'm gonna pick between a lug like here, and I'm gonna go the same amount over on the next lug, so it's a matching tread lug. So when it glues back together, it'll still have the same sidewall. So when I do that, I get the ruler, and I'm gonna put that across here to where it's right across the middle of the hole. Got to make sure that you do that properly. And then I use a silver marker and draw a line up to the tread. And now I'm gonna do this one over the center of the tire so it's perfectly in half. Draw a silver line. Okay, now it's gonna go across. So since I mirrored it, it should have lined up, but it actually is a little off. Let's see. So I want it to do the same thing on this side, so I'm gonna like be going to there. Okay, so I just gotta center it across again. And the design lets me know when I'm across the center, because I have this one ruby here, and that one ruby is here on the other side. So I know that it's halfway across. So now it's gotta be like this. Draw the line again. Okay, so now I got lines drawn. That's where I'm gonna cut it. And when I cut it, there's a bead here, big thick bead. When you cut that, you wanna try and keep it how it would sit on your rim. Don't like warp this out and then cut it. Okay. Okay. Through that, follow the line, up over. Following the line. Okay, got the first cut. Okay, here we go. Second cut going in. Up over here. Following my line. Okay. So this is what I cut out of it. 1 inch of tread. So now this will go closer together, and it will make this, instead of it being a 5.9, it'll be like a 5.65. So it'll be pretty close to the same size as these goats. Okay, so here's how I'm doing this. So when I glue it, I'm gonna glue in here, and I'm gluing in here because if the glue does run, it'll run in the tire. So I'm gonna start with the bead and the side wall here and get that set. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna put the tire together and see if my cuts look good. So right here, I just have a little bit of a whoop. See if I can smooth that out a little bit. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay. Gluing. Okay. Combining. Start with the bead. And then I'm gonna line up that circle ring. And you always want to line up even after the point that you've glued, because it sort of gives you the direction as it continues. Otherwise, sometimes you'll end up a little bit weird facing where you ended with your glue. Okay. Now I'm going to go across the tread part. This is the part that's hardest to keep the glue from going on the outside of the tire. Looks like I did really good. Okay, now I'm gonna get that lined up real good how I like it. Sort of lost. Okay, the end of it. Okay, that's set. Alright, now on this side, get this. I got a little glue on the outside of the tire, but most of it actually can you even see where I cut it? Yeah. Cut is right here. There we go. So it's narrowed and it's also shrunken cut this way. So that's both ways. So that's done. Well, one more step actually. Let me get this last one that I did because it's more setup. Because here's what I recommend you do. So get it. Yeah, it's gonna need a little bit of touch up. So if you flip your tire inside out, like this, flip it inside out, and you can see how you did. This has a couple. So what I do is I'm gonna run a whole trail all the way around of glue on the inside here. We'll go this way too. Uh-oh, I got my thumb in it. Okay. Oh, I got another finger in it too. Okay. if you don't get it on your fingers, then you're not doing it right. Just sort of making it that much better. And then I'll just let that chill and dry. And I can also pinch together any spots that had a hole. It's doing it for me that way. Okay. Right there. Right there. Right there. All right. Stay. I am glued to my table. Haha. Okay. So there we go. A cut and shut rupture in a size that you can't get. 5.65. If you were to get a 5.25, 2.21, which is the brand new size, you wouldn't be able to enlarge it because of the 2.2 rim. These are still gonna fit a 2.2. It's actually like a 2.05 right now, so like it'll have to stretch just a little bit to fit a 2.2, but it's a little bit too big for a 1.9, so you gotta stretch it on a 2.2. So the only other one you could do is upsizing with a 1.9 rupture, which is a 4.9, and when you do that, it makes it a ½ inch bigger, and it makes it a 2.2, so it would be a 5.4 tire, and it would be a 2.2 wheel. So that would not be a bad option either, but it would be smaller than I would want for this, because I don't want to go any smaller than these. So anyway, that's a good way to do tires.